Welcome, everybody. Welcome along, and welcome back to my very first preview here on a relaunch channel Flag to Finish race. And of course, I'm your host, Mark Jason Fanning, as if you did not know that already. But let me reintroduce myself. It's just a soft launch at the minute. I've done some stuff on Instagram. Again, head on over to all my socials, Flag to Finish Racing, Instagram, TikTok. And Facebook. There's going to be plenty more content coming. I've an interview with Shark Hanlon after Hewitt winning, and Turles gone up. It's all in my socials. But other than that, we're going to kick on. This is my very first preview. As I said, I have a lot more coming down the pipeline, which will be a hard official launch rather than just the soft one I'm doing at the minute. But just because Torres came back, I wanted to get the brand out there and start reintroducing myself to a wider public. I'm going to bring down to earth content for all types of race cars, new, old, and everyone in between. And again, it's a learning journey like I'm on myself. So look, we're going to touch it a bit more on that down along the line. As I said, I'm going to have a proper launch. There'll be a proper podcast coming, and I'm very excited about that. There'll be lots of subcategories which I will be excited to share. But I'm harping on here for a minute and a half when really we're here to preview Champions Day at Ascot. The course is the end of the flat season. Basically, this is going to be it in Britain from here on out. The Futurity Trophy, I think it's known as now in Doncaster. That'll be the final Group 1 in a couple of weeks' time. But what a day's racing we have to look forward to. Look, it's a 12:55 start, 7 races, 5 Group 1s, and it's a really stacked card, competitive card. But this is what we try for, and it's going to make for great viewing. The ground is going to be a little bit different than other years. It's good ground, but don't get me wrong, it's going to be good ground, but it's a different kind of good ground than it would be now in July or the June or July Royal Ascot meeting. I think there's always going to be that little bit of toe in there. Obviously, this time of the year, good ground is completely different description. You're never going to get good to firm. It's been an exceptionally dry summer, so hence the good ground. But this meeting for me has always been uh, at best good to soft. It's normally soft to heavy. I think it was last year, but so different conditions for different types of horses this year. But anyway, I'm going to kick on 12:55 start, and what a race we have to start. We have the Quipco British Champions Long Distance Cup, a Group 1, just shy of the 2 miles, mile 7 and 209 yards. 5 runners declared here. And Royal Ascot Gold Cup winner Trawlerman lines up here. Very short odds. William Buick in the colours of Godolphin here for trainer John Gosden. 4-9. I think he gets the job done. I don't really see what beats him. Being honest, I think Sweet William can run him best home and give the stable a 1-2. So I'm going to keep it nice and short and sweet. Excuse the pun. I'm going to go Trawlerman and Sweet William for the forecast. And just in case Sweet William might run him down, I'd love to see this lad win a big one. I think he's been a great servant, a consistent servant. I see the stars gelding there. We might do a little reverse forecast, but for me, I think John Gosden holds all the aces in the long distance cup. Then we're going to kick straight to do the 6 furlong. This is condition stakes. It's for 2-year-olds, 13 declared here. A tough little puzzle to crack. We have another warm one here in the colours of Godolphin. Charlie Appleby, though, trains this one. Words of Truth, winner on his last 3 starts, and looked like he's a proper horse going forward. Luke DeVega, Gelding, William Buick, again short, even money, probably gets the job done. But I'm going to go for one here. The massive odds, I think, 50-1 for me. Super Soldier, Carl Burke's runner here, Clifford Lee combining. They could have run a host of runners in this race. I think I'm absolutely kicking myself. I hadn't a look at the entries in this before they declared, because I'd imagine he would have had a couple entered. But this lad hasn't got some bad form. Now, his first start was his only winning start, and that he's ran 7 times in total. So the strike rate wouldn't be anything to write home about. But his second run at Ascot, just the last couple of days in April, he was beaten a half a length by Wise Approach, who since went on, Charlie Appleby, to win a Group 1. He was then second in a listed contest in Chantilly, beaten a half a length. He then ran in the Coventry Stakes, and I know he finished 14th at 20, but he was only beaten less than 10 lengths. And if he can just get it together, I think this leg could run into the frame here. He was second in a Group 2 after that run in Chantilly behind a decent prospect of Joseph O'Brien, Green Sense. So for me, I just think at massive odds here, the fact that Carol Burke knows his time of day, you can see what he's done with his 2-year-olds. He's got a stack of them. I'd imagine he could have ran a couple of them here. Now, obviously, it's a conditions race, so maybe what he has already that ran as 2-year-olds mightn't have been eligible to run here. But I think he could have had a couple that could have been. Again, as I said, I should have probably looked more at the. This was the one race I probably didn't look at the early entry stage when I should have. But for me, Super Soldier, I'm not going to harp on about it. At the price at 50 to 1, I think he's definitely worth a fiver each way in race 2. Then the second Group 1 of the day is the Quipco British Champion Sprint Stakes, a 6 furlong contest. 20 runners line up here. I'm sweet on one here down the very, very bottom now, albeit it's weight for age and sex. So there's only £4 between the top and the bottom here. 9-4 is the top and 9 stone is the bottom. But Veka, the French runner, Freddie Gaffard, trains in the colour of the late Aga Khan. Michael Barcelona coming over to take the mount. Around 12 to 1 at the minute. This filly by Blue Point has some very interesting runs. For me, was third. The last time we seen it on British soil was third at the Royal Meeting in the Commonwealth Cup, which is a Group 1, and was beaten less than 3 parts of a length by Time for Sands that day. But before that was a winner of a listed contest around Chantilly, and they take a bit of beating. That's strong form coming here. As I said, was third in the Group 1, held up. So maybe the fast pace might suit this filly coming back here in a track she's ran well at. The trainer knows the time of day. You've seen what he's done this year. He's absolutely, as the fella says, the cream is rising to the top with Freddie Gaffard, and it's easily to see why he's becoming France's top trainer at the minute and the young and upcoming trainer. He's training for Aga Khan. You don't get that job on merit. And yeah, I think at 12 to 1, this lightly raced 3-year-old filly can run and give a great account of herself here in the Sprint Stakes. Then we're going to go to the fourth race on the card. This is the Fillies and Mare Stakes. It's a Group 1, just shy of a mile and a half, mile 3 and 211 yards. 10 runners declared here. I'm sweet on first look here, Paddy Toomey's runner. Albeit has she some people might say she's better on soft ground, but as I said, the good ground here is not going to be good to form. And arguably for me, I think one of her best runs, if not her best run, was in the Curragh this year, where she was second behind Portaventura, that multiple Group 1 and Breeders' Cup winner, who's since been retired, I think, Donncha O'Brien's runner, in a Group 2 around the Curragh, as I said. And before that was on good ground. And before that, in a couple of weeks prior, about 6 weeks prior to that, she was she won a Group 3 at the Curragh on good ground. Now, arguably, her better runs to the eye have looked on ground that has a cut in it, soft, yielding. But for me, her last couple of runs, she's been since purchased by Watan, since winning a Group 3 on yielding ground at the Curragh at the back end of July. She was second in the mile layer. I thought that was a great run. James Dial was his first time riding the filly. He hadn't had a chance to ride her. He was getting used to her. And then her last run in Longchamp in the Group 1, the Prix de l'Opera, that Jessica Harrington won, she was only beaten ahead in a short head. I just think she's coming into form. She's had a couple of runs together. I think she's getting better, this Glen Eagle 4-year-old. And I just think she was 12 to 1 during the week. She's around 8 to 1 now. One look for me definitely takes my vote each way in the Fillies and Mares. Then we're going to go to, I suppose, that the chief supporting race on the card. This is the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, the QE2. Over the mile, 16 runners declare here. And this, for me, it could be the race of the day. We have Field of Gold coming back here after blowing out in Goodwood. Getting hammered now, 13 to 8 from 2 to 1. We've got Rosalien, all the most heartbreaking horse this year running. Shawnee Levy, Richard Hannon has been beaten in some of the best races this year by the shortest of margins, and I just think brings all the form, brings all the aces here, Rosalian, and I think could possibly, hopefully, get his first win of 2025 this year. Be great to see it. Um, I think Rosalian gets the job done here. Now, Feel a Goal comes back to what we've seen in the St James's and in the Irish Guineas. I think, look, he's going to be the one. He was very warm favourite that day for a reason, but he's running in Goodwood. And look, you can always forgive a horse for one bad run, especially when it was too bad to be true, if that makes sense. So for me, I think on paper, this looks like an intriguing contest. Feel the Goal. Can he come back to what he is? Let me know. Put it in the comments before the race goes off. I think Rosalind, though, holds the form at the minute. I just think he's been so solid without winning, albeit. But look, a couple of near misses. I think Shawnee Levy gets on very well with this Blue Pine Colt. It's just the narrowest emergence he's been denied, and a head bob either way, and he would go from. He's an absolute superstar in my eyes, but he would just be on a different stratosphere if he could just get his head over the line, especially on Champions Day. The one that I can see running a huge race is January. Now, albeit maybe it might do too much early on. Aidan O'Brien's runner, Billy Lee, comes in for the mount here. For this 3-year-old filly by Kingman, and I love a Kingman filly. I love any kind of a Kingman, but these fillies especially. I remember just this one doesn't have that bad a form, She was second in the Falmouth in Newmarket and only beaten a half a length by Cinderella's Dream. And that's only 3 starts back in July. She was still second in the Group 1 behind Fallen Angel, only beaten ahead. And Fallen Angel has won multiple Group 1s this year, if I'm not mistaken, and was a classic winner last year in Ireland. Yeah, it's just her last 2 runs. But look, you can forgive her in some of those big fielded handicaps in France and that, like not getting the run or the race or things mightn't set up to suit. But I just think if she doesn't do too much early, and if she is making the running, if she maybe gets an easy time of it, I just think January can outrun her odds here. Billy Lee has been back banging in winner as strong as ever since that injury, and it's great to see. So it'd be huge to see him bang in a Group 1 here. But for me, this race on paper, just to watch it alone as a spectacle, as a racing fan, Rosalian, can he finally get that win of 2025 after near heartbreak in some of those big contests during the year? Feel the Gold. Can he bounce back and show us what he's shown us in the St. James's Palace Stakes? Colin Keane, John Gosling. Or can we get an outsider maybe filling and causing a shock? And I just think that maybe January could be the one to win in what month to win? October. Dancing Gemini could run a solid race too at 50-1 for Roger Teal and Kieran Schumacher. For me, I think Rosalian wins, and if one's going to pick up the pieces at massive odds, I'm going to go for January. Then we're going to go to the feature race of the day. It's a mile 1 contest, the Quipco Champion Stakes. 11 runners declared, 3-year-olds plus. What a folklore race this has been down through the years. Some of the greats have won it. Cracksman winning a couple, and Frankel, of course. Look, we need not say anymore. Frankel, 13 years since the day Frankel won, and it's getting to the stage where it only feels like yesterday. And look, every time we have this renewal of this race, we're always speaking about, are we going to see the next Frankel? Is this the next Frankel? I think Frankel is only going to be Frankel, and if we get something that's going to be equally as impressive, not this year, I don't think, because he was unbeaten in the race, going to the race. But if we ever see him being tapped, he'll be topped. I think he'll be the next horse of whatever that horse's name is. But Frankel is, for me, going to ever be the only Frankel. This it looks like an absolute superb renewal. I think Ombudsman, short. Yeah, I like Delacroix here. I just think he's running the Champion Stakes when he ran down last year's winner of this race, Amat, who is after getting a niggle and doesn't run for the rest of the season. He was warm favour for the Epsom Derby. Probably his only blop in the race, and things didn't pan out too early on. Ryan is such an intelligent rider. He finished ninth in the race. If he had to, maybe I wouldn't say he could have finished any closer anyway, but if he did, and if he gave him a hard time of it, he might have finished eighth. He might have finished seventh, sixth, fifth, even fourth. He was never going to win the race from where he was and the way things panned out early. So this is why you have good riders, great riders, and then riders that I think are on a whole different level. And that's why Ryan Moore is on a whole different level. And again, you people put names on people. For me, in my generation, Ryan Moore is the best rider I've witnessed with my eyes. Arguably, people are going to, they're going to have their say, and that's everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But for me personally, standing with my two eyes, watching this man in the flesh, I just think Ryan Moore is the goat for me. Um, yeah, I think. Look, he then came back after the run in Epsom and won the Sandown Eclipse Group 1. And again, just one of the strongest Group 1s of the year. Beat Ombudsman by a neck. Ombudsman had he said once, flipped it around the Judgment International in New York. And again, he looked super impressive that day where Ombudsman beat him by 3.5 lengths. Can he make up that 3.5 lengths? Probably not in these fine margin races, but it's only one run. They're 1-for-1 at the minute. I think it could be 2-1 to Delacroix. What he done in the Champion Stakes, I thought was impressive. I thought his winning margin didn't reflect the performance, and the horse that he beat was an absolute superstar for me. So yeah, I think Delacroix. I think at the prices, especially, like you're getting 13-8 on the favourite Ombudsman, but for me, you're getting 7-2 on Delacroix. I'd rather side with Delacroix. The one I can see filling the frame, again, we like to give a little each way selection, is First Look, Andre Farb, who sends this lad over in the colours of Watan Racing. James Doyle combines, I'm a big fan of James Doyle's. A winner of his last 3 starts, including in Longchamp, their Arc Weekend winning the Group 2, beating George Scott's Base City Roller. But he strung a couple of wins together. James Doyle was on board one of those wins. And I think this lad was supplemented. He's a 4-year-old getting him by Luke de Vega. When Andre Farb sends one over, you need to take note. If anybody hasn't remember what he's done down through the years, he's an absolute maestro and plays his horses very well. So for him to supplement one, and albeit Watan are firing a lot of money at the game. And there's another thing we might touch on another day, and it's a totally different subject, is owners coming in and you'll hear the rumours of horses being sold for extraordinary amounts of money for Watan, and all these other people are coming in buying them. But Watan are getting the results, and whether people think that they might be paying over the prices for horses or not, they're buying horses for results and to have winners on the big days. And for me, they're purchasing them to get these big winners, and they're getting these big winners, so they're getting what they want out of it. So it's great to see, and you need these big owners there. I think it's a great job for James Doyle. I'm a big advocate of his down through the years, and it was great to see him getting this. I think First Look can outrun his odds here at 25-1, and could be the one for the each way look at 15. Then the final race on the card is the only handicap, the Balmoral handicap, the Phyllis proceedings over the mile. 20 runners declared. I'm not going to harp on too long about Witch Hunter. I've tipped this lad a few times. He's 6-year-old now, loves these races. I was tipping this lad in Group 1 sprints, and he's run here last year. He was, where is it now? If I can get it. Yeah, he was third in this race last year of 20, only beating 3.25 lengths. I think I tipped him in this. Now, Jamie Spencer rode him that day, and maybe this type of ride will suit him, in at the rear, take a pull, hopefully to burn off on the front end and tank into the race. But this lad has been running around in Group 1 race, and has been a Group 2 winner in the past, and has won around the course here. So I think Witch Hunter, the only problem for me is he won the last day, which means he's gone up £6. B, his price is not what it should be. He's about 20-1 at the minute. Joe Levy takes the ride. So yeah, I like Witch Hunter each way. You're going to get those extra places at 20-1. The other one I'm going to touch on then is a very intriguing one for me. Bobby Benu for the Midland Park Syndicate, who will probably have a load of people there, which is a great syndicate. Check it out, Midland Park. And Roger Varian, Ray Dawson. Ray Dawson's been shining in the last couple of years as a rider, and it's great to see. He's got a great relationship with Roger Varian. They've built up a great relationship together. I think this lad could be an intriguing runner here and might outrun his odds. Look, that is my preview here for the British Champions Day, the final, I suppose, big day racing, apart from in Britain especially. All roads are going to lead into the jump season that's going to be just around the corner. It's actually started to kick off already. As I said, I'm going to relaunch this brand a lot better in the next couple of weeks. I just wanted to get this video out again. Share this out, hit the likes, hit the shares, and I will see you again very soon. Again, Mark Fanning here from Flag to Finish Racing, from the first flag to the final finish.